Hi, doing? Welcome to the Mind Over Body podcast. This is episode 6, and I'm joined today with the famous Michael Bishop. Remember, this podcast is to talk to people who inspire, who help build mindset, who've changed their lives around from being in such a dark place. Also, mental health and coping mechanisms. So, hi, Mike. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Good, good, good. So, I'm going to
Well,
let you introduce yourself to the people that are listening, and we'll go from there, dude.
I'm Michael Bishop. Full name Michael David Samuel Bishop. I'm 6'5". I'm a Scorpio.
It's not a dating site, mate.
Oh, it's the other Zoom call. Yeah, I'm Michael Bishop. Often fondly called Big Mike. I've always been called Big Mike, even though there's bigger Mikes out there. It's weird. I don't know. I think it was from when I used to be in the showers at basketball. They called me Big Mike. But yeah, so I'm currently competing disability strongman in the standing category, standing category 1, and compete against yourself. I've got 2 arms and 2 legs that are functional, and that's not kind of being sarcastic, because a lot of our guys have different things going on with their limbs. But I've got a brain disease called cerebral ataxia. So I call it shrinky brain. My little brain, my cerebellum at the back of my head, is a little bit shrunk, and it affects my balance, coordination, and that can affect all sorts of parts of like physical kind of functioning, from walking to talking. The more obvious ones that people will see if I'm mobile and well enough to be at comps is kind of like the movement related problems. And yeah, that's me.
Right, mate. So let me tell people what your titles are. Come on, don't be so modest.
See, I find all this stuff kind of like,
No, I want people to know who you are, yeah, what you've achieved, and then we're going to talk about how you got there. So
but I'm
come
one of
on.
those people who's like, it's not about the trophies, man.
No, it's
I do
not. It's
love
not. It's not.
charity.
No, don't think of it like that. Then think of it like I've achieved this with this disability. I've achieved this with this mindset. This is what
Yeah.
it's all about. So, what have you
So
achieved?
yeah, the big achievements before I reel off the catalogue of awards, trophies. Um, the big achievements are as simple as what you said at the start, or no, you said to me off camera, was about kind of getting up in the morning. You know, those challenges, overcoming those things, and being present are the bigger things for me. I think that's the point I want to make. But apart from that, I'm 2 times world's strongest disabled man. I've got a couple of Arnold Classic titles in my category, and the UK Arnold title as well. I've got 3 British titles, and then quite a few podiums, to be honest. I came into the sport, I did it one comp where everyone was seated at the well-known strongman gym, Trojan Fitness in Bristol, with some of the guys who still compete, Gary, Dave Walsh, Mark Smith. A lot of your kind of military followers might be conscious of Mark. He doesn't compete anymore in strongman, but he's doing really well in
Football.
the football, adaptive football. And yeah, so did that comp, had my eyes open to what it actually takes, and got to appreciate the seated side of it. The first probably 2 years, 18 months, I was prepping for the comps, both seated and standing, because my mobility in terms of how long I could stand or if I was able to walk was very very intermittent. It still can be, but it's a lot more managed. So I enjoyed that because you kind of like get a sense of what the seated category is like. The most obvious thing being seated deadlift. But yeah, so I had some really like fun different events in those comps at Trojans. But anyway, moved on, went to the Brits in 2017 after getting an invite from Gary, and somehow won that. There was an Aussie guy entered, but he originally was over for a different comp that didn't happen, and because he wasn't British, they didn't give him the title. But like, he spanked me probably by 5 or 6 points. But I ended up getting what was the first British title, and I remember coming away having the trophy, and I sat in the car, and I was like, what has just happened? You know, this bit of a whirlwind. I've got this title, and I think from then it was like that gave me the bug. Like,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and kind of, I was mega hungry all the way through. Had a really good season in 2019. Got my first world's title. Got the first Arnold's title. And so, like, on paper, that was a great season, but I was exhausted. I hadn't really still.
That's what people don't understand with your disability. I don't like calling it disability, but your brain injury, we'll call it.
It is what it is.
It's like you can wake up one day and not being able to move any part of your body, being like completely immobile, to then the next day you being able to, you just constantly shaking. I've had the pleasure of working with you and training with you and competing with you, and you scare me. Do you know what I mean? Because I know a little bit, and what I know, I thought I knew quite a lot about the body, but until I met you, and then I watched how you work, I watched how you train, I watched how you had to centre yourself, like what we were doing in Iceland, where you had to, you felt a bit off that day, and you had to literally focus on your thumbs at arm length just to calm you back down, to sort of realise what you had to do next. And then all I remember is shouting between each rep is, get your thumbs out in front of you, because you look at most parts of the day, you look like you're going to fall over anyway. And that's what and that's what people don't understand with this is, he's 6'5", long, luscious hair, lifts heavy, but the next day you can't move. The next day you can't physically function, move, like fit. The only time I got worried was when you had that little outburst, and I thought you were going to leap out the window or something, but that's you can't control that, and that's what people.
Yeah, so it's like I always tell people I've got ataxia, right? But I've got what's classed as like a complex diagnosis. So I've got ataxia. Ataxia means lack of order. So that's more the imbalanced coordination issues. Well, I've done a ton of stuff. I'm starting to realize I'm probably one of the few people in the world to have done it. I'm not saying it's by any means a cure or a fix for ataxia, but 100% it's like stuff that can keep you going, right? Keep you moving in a more efficient state. But so, but I also have functional movement disorder, which is more to do with like the crazy movement patterns, almost like stuff that I'm not asking my body to do. So not just as simple as like an involuntary tick or like sometimes my diaphragm will spasm and I'll move, these kind of things that when I get to spend time with people like yourself, I can explain like this happens, that happens. And then when
Highlanders, we are a team of injured, sick veterans competing in the Scottish Highland Games. My discount code is TONNER10, TONNER, all in capital letters. You can visit the website, it's in the description below. Let's get back to the podcast.
Does you know how to manage
that's exactly what we did in Iceland.
understand it. And that's what happened in Iceland. So the incident Mark's talking about is like just done hand over hand pull, and it's quite a lot of like, you're generating a lot of power, you're pulling a rope in front of you, and there's quite a bit of
Central nervous
twisting.
system movement.
Yeah, quite a bit of twisting through my neck, which I kind of find often throws me off. And then all that adrenaline and energy, I consciously would just want to like do what most people do, be out of breath, go and sit down. But my system is ready to go, and it's firing still, like an echo from that effort. So the event's done, and I have like an advanced startle response. So like I will jump and be startled and look like my eyes are big, my hands are out, I'm ready to run. I know consciously, right, that's happening. Calm down, Mike. It's almost like I'm not there, but I am. But if I put in place the things of like talking to people like yourself and having these things there, then people know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Whereas another example would be more recently, I won't go into all the kind of COVID stuff, but I had the jabs, chose to have the booster jab. My condition's autoimmune related, so it left me pretty floored for 4 or 5 weeks. Within that 4 or 5 weeks, about in the middle, I got to the gym and I got stuck on the mats. And as Mark was saying, having temporary paralysis problems, I'm like almost, I can hardly move, like shift my eyes a little bit, maybe a bit of torso movement. And a lot of the young staff in the gym have talked to me about my condition, know that I'm world's strongest disabled man, but not actually experienced it. Anyway, cut long story short, I was stuck there for 45 minutes, got a little bit of a shuffle to the side.
I would have done all sorts to you.
I was stuck for another 45 minutes. Like I said, I just used all my resources of that small amount of movement to get hold of my phone, hit the alarm, call someone in the family. They could see through the camera. I mean, this is what they could see, my hands, like, so they knew, right, they knew where I was, sent a family friend down to come and get me. And then the people in the gym realized that the point I'm making is, if I don't make the efforts to help people understand that, educate and inform them, they're not going to know how it affects me.
Yeah.
And I think that is the same for all disabilities, not just rare ones that people haven't heard of, right? It's totally still the same for yourself, making people aware of
You okay?
Yeah.
Good. See, this is what happens when Mike gets a little bit excited. He's missed me quite a bit. I've only seen him 2 weeks ago. But he is an inspirational person because he has overcome all this now. Are you okay, Mike? Yeah? But don't start having one of them fits with me on this. We're all good. So if I could ask you a question, mate.
Whatever it takes for it to go viral, mate.
Why do you get out of bed? Why do you get out of bed and do what you do?
As we discussed, sometimes I can't, right? I'm locked in. I wake up and I can't, and I'm fully locked in, can't move, total paralysis, but I'm awake.
Yeah.
And when that would happen years back to begin with, I could be quite anxious with it, and that would only cause more issues, to be totally honest.
Well, yeah, it would do.
Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my dog.
It's all right, don't worry about it. So, matey, what have you got planned for the future?
Let me finish about getting out of bed.
Go on then, let's get out of bed.
So in those moments when I'm stuck, I have quite a narrative, like kind of from films and stuff, of like the people when they're stuck in the head, like creating a space. So I don't actually like visually create a space, but I actively think through a lot of stuff. Like, what can I do next time I'm in this situation? What can I do? I come up with loads of ideas.
Good.
And then often try and get them on paper afterwards, and implement them.
Am I going to have to ring an ambulance for you in a minute?
Mate, hardly.
Good.
I just, cough, choking on my saliva, which again is one of the many.
Well, that's what people do. That's what I mean. So I know you coughing. Anybody else, I was already having a cough, but I know you coughing could be quite serious because the effect it has for the motor functions of how you cough. Do you know what I mean? So if that suddenly stops, all of a sudden you're choking. So that I understand that.
It will pass. This too.
But yeah, it will. Well, you're only coughing. Man up.
Yeah. Keep talking.
So what have you got planned for the future, mate? What have you got planned?
Hey, so
What's Big Mike gonna bring this year? Because I know what I'm bringing this year, and my goal this year is to outlift everyone. Everyone.
I think this is the goals to set, right? Last year, I set myself some stupid goals that I wanted to achieve them, but they were that touch a bit further than what I maybe thought I could. So I call them mirror goals because I write them on the mirror.
Yeah.
They're there in my bedroom, and then come the end of the year, wipe them off, see what I have and haven't achieved. And I hit everything I needed to last year.
Well, because when I say around to say people set goals, I ask them to set daily goals, monthly goals, and a outrageous goal. Okay, outrageous. Like, I'm not
your deadlift, your 24-hour deadlift challenge.
Yeah, that was a goal of mine. But I wouldn't say that for me. That's not out of my capacity to do. So I wouldn't say it was. If there wasn't a goal I was scared of. Do you know what I mean?
Off the back of kind of what you did, and we'd had a few discussions about goals and stuff. I've struggled to walk any long distance for years, like over 10 years. But the last couple of years, I've worked hard on small walks, walking in the gym frequently, and up until my cadence won't let me, and then drop back. So if my walking and mobility is bad, I don't push through too much then, because I'm just reinforcing the negative pattern.
Yeah.
It's when I'm feeling in the flow of stuff that I get it going. So for epilepsy action, here's my little tracker plan. I've 50 miles for this month is the plan.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, next time you're doing a mile, give me a bell and we'll plan it, and I'll walk a mile with you and be on the phone. Do you know what I mean? See, what people got to understand is when you set a goal, it needs to be out your reach, just out your reach. Not unachievable, but achievable with effort. Now, you walking 50 miles in a month, that's a massive thing for you. That is really pushing that achievement to the point where you can. So don't play it down. And people say, oh, he was only walking 50 miles. Yeah, you don't live his life. 50 miles for Mike is a.
I mean, there would be years where I probably haven't, total. It would be a cut 50 meters to the gym with a stick that sometimes might have taken me 45 minutes. Or I used to go to a coffee shop and the gym was down the way across the river, and there was 16 benches. It's only a very small distance, like maybe not even 100 meters, but it's a small park thing anyway. 16 benches. I used to shuffle from bench to bench.
KTM Nutrition, to do all your dietary and supplement needs, whether you want to lose weight or gain weight. Discount code is MT10, capital letters. The website for KTM Nutrition is in the link in the description below. And now we're going to get back to the podcast.
So yeah, in that sense, it's a big goal. But because some of our comps early in the season are not happening, it's it's a good opportunity for me to build up my working capacity. That's the plan, right? My nervous system, build up my working capacity. Then I've used that larger volume. I did it with swimming last summer. Then I filter it into my strength training, and that seemed to have really helped, as opposed to the early years where I was just
trying
saying in 2019 it was like shit or bust. I'd just be doing strength stuff, sometimes struggling to get out of bed and get someone to drop me at the gym door, and great people at the gym helping me whilst I was there. So I'm still doing strength stuff, but
But no, don't play it down to no one, mate, because your goal is at your achievement limit, right? So when I turn around and say you need to set a goal that you're going to be scared of reaching, that you really got to work your ass off to reach, I have set myself a goal this year. It's not gonna. I don't like putting times on goals. I don't say, oh, in a month I'm going to be doing this, and in a month I'm going to be doing that. They're monthly goals that I know I can achieve, that I've got to hit to gain the right path to that unreal goal. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my unreal goal will finish at the Brits. That's the one goal I want. So regardless of what happens this year, what events we go to, whether it's Iceland, whether it's Canada, they're competitions that I'm going to smash. However, there is one goal that I'm going to set for myself, which is going to happen at the Brits. And that's
so you dialed in for that.
Yeah, pardon for that. There is going to be another goal. Another one of my goals is for the competition before, which is the Arnold's. Active, they have the event there. If not, I'm going to do it anyway. They're my goals that I want to set myself.
Yeah.
But when we talk about goals, you need to have an unrealistic goal. Not to the point where it's physically impossible. Like,
you want something to.
You need that motivation, that self-motivation to get to that goal. And if you don't achieve it, at least you've tried. And when you know if you can't achieve it, you've worked your ass off. You only know yourself if you haven't. With that the mentality that I have. So my unrealistic goals to people are achievable for me. Like deadlift for 24 hours. Yeah. That, to me, I wasn't worried about that, because in my mindset, it was for a different reason than just deadlifting for 24 hours, the suicide prevention. So
and I think that's probably what drives a lot of worthy goals, be they individual or for the greater good, is like finding your, like, the why behind it. It's quite the buzz term at the moment. What is your why? Well, it is very important to figure out. Sometimes my why is sitting down and figuring out, well, what is it? What really does drive me? And quite often the things that you find easier and you can get in the flow with more, that are instinctively like your own, whether they're hard or not, are the better things to aim for. So I enjoy doing the strength stuff, so therefore I'll have more moments where I can get in the flow, because I enjoy it. It excites me. It keeps me moving forward. So like you said, it's kind of snowball. The goals can snowball, but again, the reality, I think, I don't know with my condition. I've not really been given a prognosis in terms of like, this is how it's going to be. So why not, like Stephen Hawking did? He was given however long to live and totally kind of blew away any expectation, because he wouldn't let what a doctor had said limit his potential kind of to achieve some, literally astronomical thing.
Like I have said before, we live without limits. Everybody in the disabled strongman live without limits. Regardless of what limits put on us, or unavoidably put on us, i.e. the disabilities, injuries, all that sort of stuff, illnesses, diseases, that's a limit. We choose to live without the limit. And that's a different switch. That's a different mindset to someone who hasn't had to live with that limitation.
Yeah,
Now, I call it a limitation because it is a physical limitation to the body, right?
Yeah.
You choose to believe that, you'll always live behind it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're gonna sit there and go, do you know what? I've got one arm. I haven't wore shoes for 2 years because I can't tie my shoelaces. Guess what? I'm going to do it my way and tie them.
Yeah.
That's living without limitation. So you getting out of bed or trying to get out of bed when you feel like you're having a bad episode, you getting out of bed is your living without limitation. It's that, and that's how people need to see. And that doesn't have to be physical limitations. That could be mental limitations. It can be absolutely anything. So my next question to you, mate, is if you had to motivate someone in a similar situation to you, who would literally live with that limitation and let them stop it from doing everything, how would you approach that person into motivating them into having a better life?
I think I would sandwich like positive, loving, caring support with brutal, harsh reality.
Yeah.
With positive, loving, caring support. Almost like when people go to therapy or literal like physical therapy, like going to start somewhere comfortable and be honest with them. My best coaches in basketball, before I'd had some mobility issues, but were the ones who were assertive in terms of like saying, right, here's a tick list. You do A, B, and C really well. Well done. But you're crap, at D, E, and F. You need to work on, these things. That accelerates your learning straight away. Even if it's uncomfortable to hear.
No, but that's
like
the
being
point.
told what you're
going
weak
to make
at.
it better, then that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no such thing as bad advice, really. You either take it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's having that understanding that this person, like you said, is being that brutally honest with you to give you that kick up the arse to move on.
Yeah, discomfort and struggle can create growth. But I would still like try and stick with the person in terms of like, letting them be totally open. Like I am being brutal to you because I need to,
Yeah.
I think that would be my choice of approach to it. I'd like to think, but it would come from like a caring place. I think often I imagine when people are going through different things that I don't understand, that they're how I would treat someone I love or a family member. Like what can I do to help you kind of grow and develop as a person? And these things can become so like individualized because we're all so diverse with the limitations that might come from a disability. That doesn't limit the broadness of expression of a person's personality and what their goals might be. It might be nothing to do with the stuff that we do.
No, but
strength related.
Like I said, there's a video coming out on YouTube about the 24-hour deadlift, and I said that. I turned around and said, do you know what? My way of dealing with my mental health is lifting. It helps me, it helps my body. I've got the drive, I've got the mindset to do it. I can't do it any other way. That's what works for me. And I'm my biggest criticism. I'm my biggest critic, really, because like I know from yourself, you could have done better at certain things, but it wasn't your fault. It was the illness. Do you know what I mean? It's that simple little stuff where you plays on yourself and it does my head in. But no, on a lighter note, we are going to tell people, because this is Rebel Strength. They do a lot of gym equipment, gym clothing. The discount code is MT5, all capital letters. The website link is in the description below. Let's get back to the podcast. Listener more than likely see this, and that is the. What did you pick the event that we're going to do this wager on? Was it the Arnolds? It was the Arnolds, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but
Yeah, it
yeah, I
is
think
the
you're right.
Arnolds. So
Yeah,
the wager is me
Arnold's
and
UK.
Mike are having a little bit of a bet, and whoever loses, um, is the winner is basically dressing the loser for the first event at the Arnold's. So I've got a lovely picture of Mike to put on this, and I've also got I picked a lovely outfit for him. So yeah, so look forward to seeing Mike in a little pink crop top saying "Meet me at the bar" and fluffy
The
tutu
thing is,
with
we both got long hair, right? So there's so many,
exactly
awesome
so many
variations.
accessories that we can use as well.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait, mate. You're gonna love using your pom pom.
Oh, we'll see. We haven't even picked out what the bet is yet, have we?
No, but I think maybe if we dial it into once we know what the events are, maybe at the Worlds or
Yeah,
Brits.
I reckon we do it at the Arnold's. Massive stage. There's loads of people there. I would love to see you in a
No,
tutu,
but I
little
mean,
crop top saying "Meet me at the bar."
we have to do the wager before,
You know why I ever did a wager before?
unless maybe over the 2 days of the Arnold's, maybe like the first day, one of those events would be like whoever wins
Yeah.
or when I beat you at that event.
When I beat you, you mean? So
When
look
I
forward
beat
to
you,
seeing Mike with his hair down.
yeah.
The
And
tutu.
then the first event on the Sunday, when we need to be really serious and the points are going to matter.
The thing is, that's the good
One of
thing
us,
about me and you. We never really are serious, really, when we're there together. We're always like, there's time to be serious, but then
it's
I
a
think that's
switch.
why we do so well, is because we're having a laugh. Do you know what I mean?
It's a switch. Like I tend to be quite relaxed at comps. I think where I used to play basketball in front of a big crowd, that kind of stuff doesn't really faze me. I'm quite good at I won't totally ignore people, but if I'm doing something, it's like I'm content with saying, "Hold on a minute, I know you've got some stuff going on, but I'm focusing on this." In the same vein, I like all the extra stuff that happens at the Arnold's. You actually get people kind of in the crowd, and that's what I would say. People should come up and chat to us and get their mate to.
We're on a bigger stage this year.
Yeah.
So we have been doing a lot of work with raising the profile of our sport because we were down in Farnborough 2 weeks ago where we doing an exhibition.
Yeah.
Those little things like that all help. So when it comes to this year's, I'm only really going to beat you, mate. To be fair, sorry, and I'm not even in your.
Well, I like to think I can, set the benchmark for people. Come at me. Come at me, bro. That kind of mentality of
and you should be scared.
I've been lucky enough to be the dude on the top of the hill. If you look at last year's results on paper, it might be like, "Whoa, Mike, you beasted it," but actually, there's no reason why any of the top, like yourself, I'd say like the top 6 guys. I'm thinking UK based because of not having competed with as many foreign folks for a while. It's anyone there could win any event at any time. I've just been able to kind of dial in and get the small margins.
You didn't lift heavier than me at Iceland, no, did you?
I didn't need to. This is the thing.
See, right,
I only needed to.
I brought it. You left it there. So let's just
Yeah. I think it's I regret that. I have a mixed feeling because I made the mistake.
You weren't right on that day. I'm only winding you up. You weren't right on that day. If you'd have done too much that you needed to, it would have affected the outcome at the end. So
I was doing the
fair
classic
play.
thing.
That was a good strategy to have. Because if you look towards the end of the second day when you were a bit agitated more, that would have been a hell of a lot worse. Do you know
Potentially.
What I mean?
But you don't know what happens if you choose to empty the tanks. The mistake I made was when we had the worlds that was kind of digital, first comp you came in on December 2020. I made the mistake of like, I'm going to try and break this record because I know my training was going well and I should peak. Right, okay, break the record. That fatigue could have cost me a point in any of the
exactly
further events. So
yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I think you picked the right strategy on that one, definitely. So
I think somewhere in the middle.
No, but say that again. No, but at the end of the day, that was the right strategy for you on at that time. Like, people have got to understand is you'd be fine 1 second and you'd be on the floor the next. So doing that right where you felt right, there's no taking back from that. But if you want to raise the game, you're going to have to chase me next this year. I'm telling you that now.
I'm up for it, mate. Like I said, come at me. I'm at the top of the hill. Yeah.
So am I.
Fighting off wolves and sharks and
so am I.
Mob members.
No, you know that. Hey, you can't fight them off, mate. They're relentless. Right, mate. So that I'm gonna have to call it an end to that to this podcast now. So I'd like to say thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We'll do another one.
Yeah, we will do definitely
at some point.
Yeah, we'll do we might even do one while we're in Iceland or Canada or whatever else. So it's all good. We'll get it all done. But no, thank you very much. If you want to have a look at what Mike does on a daily basis, what he gets up to, all his details in his social media will be in the link below. Obviously, mine will be in there. Obviously, remember, make sure you get subscribing to the podcast, and then we'll make it bigger and better. So thank you very much, Mike, and I will speak to you very soon. Cheers, dude. Thank you. And remember, mind over body.